Thank you. Good evening to you. Coming up on BBC London. Forced off her bike by thieves, one woman who was injured shares her experience and calls for police to make tackling bike crime more of a priority.
I received an email from the police saying that they would not going to investigate it and they were closing my case. So that was shocking for me.
We look at the wider picture in the capital with our transport correspondent, also tonight. A mum whose daughter almost died from meningitis 3 years ago campaigns for the MenB vaccine to be made available on the NHS. Plus, bringing the past back to life, the map giving us a bird's eye view of our city in 1746. And could it be you? The hunt for the missing London lottery winner who could be £10 million richer. Hello and a very warm welcome to the programme. Good to have you with us. We start tonight with an issue that we know is important to many of you, bike theft, and calls for police to do more to combat it. The Met says it is down on last year, but cycling campaigners believe that it goes underreported. One Londoner got in touch with us through the BBC's Your Voice, a way of us directly hearing the stories that matter to you. Christiana said she was forcibly knocked off her electric bike by thieves, leaving her injured and shaken, and is concerned about whether police are doing enough about this type of crime. I went to meet her in South East London.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Christiana.
Hi.
Lovely
Hi.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for coming. Please come in.
Christiana, just tell me what happened that evening. It was on your way home, wasn't it?
Yes, I was coming back from work. It was about 6 o'clock. I was cycling back because I used to cycle. And then coming on the cycle lane, and I saw this motorbike. It's like a moped.
Yeah.
And the guy wasn't giving me the way. He was blocking the whole way. And then he came all over me.
Sort of rammed you?
Yeah, he did it like on purpose, really, to make me scared, and I fell. There was another guy behind and was on the bike, and the other one was on the motorbike, and they left. And I felt like I was shaking completely and
in shock, obviously.
hurt. My leg was hurting, and I just had to walk home, and it was a horrible feeling, you know. As soon as I got home, I contacted the police. I told them what happened, and it was a little bit frustrating because, you know, he was like saying, yeah, I'm so sorry you went through this. And then the thing that he said is that there was not much he could do. And then I asked him, do you have an advice? He said, try to walk on busy streets. But then what am I supposed to do if the way to get home is not busy, right? The very next day, I received an email from the police saying that they would not going to investigate it and they were closing my case. So that was shocking for me, you know.
Do you still feel vulnerable?
I do. Every time I leave work and I start to get close to where it happened, my body goes shaking all over.
And Christiana, this is the cycle lane where it happened. So what is it that you hope that they will do for this particular area?
I hope that there'll be more police around, that they put some CCTVs around to make us feel that we're being looked after, you know, that we have some protection, we have someone taking care of us, really.
And you just don't feel like that?
No, not at all. I don't feel like that now, no.
Christiana sharing her story. We can pick up on this with our transport correspondent, Tom Edwards. Hi, Tom. How often are we seeing these more violent type of bike robberies?
Well, I think it's difficult because there aren't any official figures when it comes to violent robberies involving bikes, but they're not uncommon, and campaigners think there's probably about 2 a day in the capital, something like that. But to put it in perspective, there are 1.5 million journeys on bikes every day, although that doesn't mean it isn't extremely frightening and upsetting if you're obviously involved in a violent robbery like that. But have a look at this. This is some footage of another robbery very recently in Bermondsey. As you can see there, a gang on a moped pull up outside the cafe, try to take the bike, and there they pull a knife on the cyclist and then make off with a very expensive £5,000 electric bike. Bermondsey at the moment is a hotspot where these attacks are taking place. Now, campaigners want much more to be done. Have a listen to this.
Yeah, really, the police have got to look at these and say these are violent crimes, they involve bikes, they involve bike theft. Get serious about solving them. You know, 2% of bike thefts get solved in London. I mean, that's crazy. So you've got no chance really of getting your bike back most of the time. We need to see the police really put a lot more resources into this and take it seriously.
So what are the Met Police saying they're doing about it?
Well, in the case in your report, they say they did investigate it, but they couldn't identify any of the suspects, so they closed the case. Very frustrating for cyclists, that. More broadly, they say, and they've given us a statement, we recognise the significant impact bike theft has on victims, from financial loss to the disruption and inconvenience it causes to everyday life. And since last April, theft across London has fallen by 21%. You'll be able to see some pictures here of more bike thefts being carried out outside a station. Now, campaigners, they dispute those figures. They say a lot is unreported, particularly low-cost bikes. The Met's urging cyclists to securely mark their bikes, to use proper locks, that kind of thing. But cyclists just feel really vulnerable, and because these gangs seem to be acting in some areas with total impunity.
OK. Tom, many thanks for that. Tom Edwards there, our transport correspondent. Really appreciate it. And of course, we'd like to hear from you, whether it's bike theft or any other issue that is important to you. You can share them through Your Voice at the address you can see there, Your Voice Stories, or just scan the QR code on your screen. Or as always, you can email us at hellobbclondon@bbc.co.uk. Plenty more to come this sunny Tuesday evening, including...
Can Tottenham put their Premier League relegation fears to one side and pull off the most unlikely Champions League comeback to reach the quarter-finals?
Now, as the outbreak of meningitis in Kent continues to hit the headlines, a mother from Hertfordshire, whose daughter almost died from the condition 3 years ago, has been campaigning to make the MenB vaccine available on the NHS. She says she knew her daughter Sophie, who was 19 at the time, was seriously ill when she couldn't speak on the phone. She lost her hearing in one ear and got arthritis in her hip due to the disease. They've been speaking to our reporter, Nicola Hazler.
Students in Kent queuing for antibiotics, a targeted programme of the meningitis B vaccine, currently only available privately for older children, was announced for the Canterbury campus and may be expanded across the country.
I really think it should be offered as part of the NHS offering, and we thought she was completely vaccinated, had never refused a vaccine. She had all the vaccines at school that were offered to her. We weren't aware that there was another vaccine that was available privately.
Kate's daughter Sophia was in her first year at uni when she called her mum to say she felt poorly.
She was being sick regularly, and I just assumed it was norovirus or some sort of sick bug. I tried to speak to her and I was saying, you know, Sophia, talk to me. I just heard groaning. So then we obviously panicked.
When did you realise it was pretty serious?
I FaceTimed her, and that's when I knew, because her jaw was wide open, her eyes were glazed over, she was struggling to say anything. I screamed for my husband to call an ambulance.
People freaking out about the vaccines and about it spreading, even if they're not in Kent, there seems to just be a lot of worry amongst students, I would say, at the moment.
With you, it was just the one case, but this is just quite shocking when it affects so many more people.
Obviously, now that we know that it's meningitis B, it's it hits quite close to home. When I got to hospital, pretty much straight away, they obviously took my bloods and told me that I had septicemia, but they knew it was meningitis, so they got me on antibiotics straight away, which of course would have saved my life. I just had no idea that there was another vaccine available. In my head, I was completely protected. It's just so important that students are protected against it so something like this doesn't happen again.
The Health Secretary said eligibility for the MenB vaccine will be re-examined, but pharmacies report that stocks are now running low.
Sophia ending that report there. You can see more on meningitis and the symptoms to look out for on BBC News Online. Let's take a look at some other stories in and around the capital now. This month's planned Stoop strikes have been called off by the RMT union. The dispute was over the introduction of a 4-day week for drivers. The other strike dates from April onwards remain in place as further talks continue. TfL had previously said the strikes were completely unnecessary. A tribunal has heard how a Metropolitan officer investigating the serial rapist David Carrick gave him a lift home from the police station following his arrest on suspicion of rape. Carrick, a former officer, was arrested in 2021 and is currently serving 37 life sentences after attacking more than a dozen women. The Old Bailey has heard that an 18-year-old baby suffered a fatal head injury when she was allegedly thrown out of a window by her mother. Baby Mariam plunged from a sash window in her family's third-floor flat in Westminster on Saturday. 43-year-old Zahira Bajouan was unable to attend the hearing and has been remanded in custody. And Transport for London is testing out a new type of radar speed camera. They don't need road surface sensors or a visible flash and will be installed over the coming weeks in boroughs including Haringey, Hackney, Croydon and Ealing. It's thought the upgraded technology should give clearer images, meaning more reliable enforcement. Next, take a look at this. It's coming. The first modern map of London to give, there it is, to give a detailed bird's eye view of the city in 1746, produced by the celebrated map maker John Roke. Now it's been painstakingly restored and is the subject of a new book. Alpa Patel headed to the British Library to find out more.
London, almost 300 years ago. With a population of 650,000, the city had large fields, orchards, and tall ships crowded the Thames. Mapmaker John Roke depicts it all on his masterpiece, created in 1746.
The City of London here, which we think of as all offices and like glass buildings, packed with dense alleys and streets. A lot of them very insanitary. There were slums just a couple of streets away from really rich merchants living in their houses.
It's the most precise map of its day, setting new standards for how cities are drawn. And Roke's techniques have shaped how maps are created today.
Map making, surveying back then, was way harder than it is now. And he'd have set out with a couple of assistants with some very basic tools. A chain, 66 feet long, a surveyor's wheel and a notebook, and they would go over, as it might be, that field, and they would measure it on all its sides, and they would draw that as accurately as they could. It might be, a few days' work. And it's really accurate. This is what almost seems miraculous when you understand how simple the tools he had to work with were.
Well, this is Tottenham Court Road, and areas like this on the map are fields and lay outside of the City of London. Other areas like Marylebone is where people were preyed upon by highwaymen and duels were fought. But there are buildings on the map that still exist today.
Well, this building is on Roke's map, the Church of St George, Bloomsbury, magnificent church built between 1716 and 1731. Then it would have been a great monument, it would have loomed above all the other houses in the street, and now London changed and rebuilt so much, the other buildings all loom over the church.
Roke gave Londoners something they'd never seen before, a scientific look at their city. Alpa Patel, BBC London.
OK, look at some other local stories on BBC News. In Surrey, the teenager planning to run the London Marathon after 4 months on a stroke ward. In Berkshire, nature lovers are set to remove invasive Spanish bluebells to give British bluebells a fighting chance in an ancient woodland. And over in Essex, meet PD Khan, the champion police dog who took the top prize in the Eastern Region Police Dog Trials. For more on those and other stories, just head over to the BBC News app. Right, let's turn to football now. There was success for Arsenal and disappointment for Chelsea in the Champions League last night. And tonight, it's Tottenham's turn to try and make it through to the quarter-finals, which will require one of their greatest ever comebacks if they are to get a place in the last 8. Let's join Chris Legg, who's at the Spurs Stadium for us this evening. Hi, Chris. What chance of such a result do you think?
Riz, it really would take something extraordinary because Tottenham trail 5-2. They've got to win by at least 3 goals to force extra time, and they haven't won any match in any competition since January. In fact, it says everything about their perilous position that this, a Champions League knockout tie, is not even their most important match of the week. They have to prioritise a relegation 6-pointer with Nottingham Forest this coming Sunday. So poor has the form been that players have been criticised by the media and some sections of the fan base. Among those players, Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero, senior defenders, criticised for a supposed lack of leadership skills and negative body language. In fact, the leading sports publication, The Athletic, went so far as to report that one Tottenham player had told teammates he's not that bothered if Spurs do get relegated because he's already lined up another club for the summer. Well, this is how Mickey van der Ven responded to that story in yesterday's press conference.
Reporters just say some things the way just like, how do you even come up with this? Like, players are switched off or don't care about the situation, what's happening right now. And the only thing I can say about it's not true. Like, it will be strange if a player will be in the dressing room now and saying like, oh, I'm gonna leave either way, or I don't focus about the situation because yeah, everything that's gonna happen, it doesn't affect me, and I think it's just nonsense.
Mickey van der Ven speaking with a lot of passion there, passion that Spurs fans hope to see on the pitch tonight. Now, as you mentioned, Chelsea were knocked out last night, but Arsenal made it through to the quarter-final. So much work to do. You can hear if they can pull off a Champions League miracle with the BBC Radio London sports team on our digital platform. Kick-off here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is at 8 o'clock. Riz.
A tense one. Chris, thank you. Now to the 40th anniversary of one of the world's longest-running queer film festivals, which takes place annually here in London. BFI Flare started life in 1986. Tolu Adeye has been finding out more about one of the films, a rom-com, being showcased this year.
Under the table you live, under my heart, dancing freedom.
Back for its 40th year, BFI Flare, the UK's largest queer film festival, showcasing cinema from across the world. One of the films playing this weekend is Notice Me, a short film set in London's East End about a crush.
I play Em. She's the protagonist of the film. We follow her as she moves to London and navigates the chaotic mess of her 20s, wanting to be a podcaster, wanting to find her queer community, but gets derailed by a crush who lives next door.
BAFTA and Golden Globe winner Lena Dunham, best known for the comedy drama series Girls, is one of the film's executive producers, and it's been directed by Amy Leonard, who wanted a classic British rom-com feel to the film.
I think we didn't want something that was laced in kind of coming out trauma. We wanted to see something that was just authentic queer joy and, yeah, not set in the 1800s or about forbidden love or anything like that. It was just, yeah, happiness and queerness on screen, and representation is so important.
BFI Flare isn't just about new cinema. There's plenty on offer, including documentaries, talks and even club nights. It's one of the longest running queer film festivals in the world.
we're showing a lot of, we're calling them treasures from the archive, so films that are a bit older, some of them that screened at the very first edition of Flare back in 1986, and some films that have been a really big part of Flare's history over the years. So I think that's a really nice chance to sort of like come and celebrate our history and lineage.
I'm trying to create a moment here. Do you want me to kiss you or not?
100% kiss me.
To have something here at Flare that's, you know, backed by the BFI, a massive institution, and it's solely about championing queer stories and queer storytellers. It's really important, and we're so grateful to be here.
Tolu Adeoye, BBC London.
Now, could it actually be you? Yes, the urgent hunt for the missing London lottery winner of a £10.6 million lotto jackpot continues. The ticket was bought in the borough of Bexley for the draw on the 4th of October, but time is running out as they have until the 2nd of April, so just around a fortnight, to come forward. Someone keen for them to do so is the senior winners advisor at Allwyn, the operator of the National Lottery, Andy Carter, who joins me. You're smiling. I can imagine the person who's got the ticket will be smiling, but how often does this happen that you have to urgently hunt for a mystery winner?
It's a rare event, I'll be honest with you. You know, people have 180 days to claim their prize. The vast majority of people do very, very quickly. So we're hoping the person out there is going to check drawers and cupboards. Listen, Lotto is the nation's millionaire maker. This is a lucky area. Only this week, Lindsay Barnes from Redhill became the lottery's 8,000th lottery millionaire. So we're hoping someone in Bexley can as well.
And you guys have been out in Bexley today, haven't you?
We have. We've been walking the streets, speaking to the locals, trying to promote the fact, urging people to check their tickets. So if you're a Lotto player or your family and friends, I'll tell them, check coats, check cupboards, check everything.
Well, let's just put the winning numbers on the screen, because that might sort of nudge them. I can tell you they're 6, 8, 12, 33, 49, 59.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, you know them off by heart. That's pretty interesting. So obviously they've got until the 2nd of April. Does anyone ever come forward after the closing date? I mean, how awful must that be?
No, people don't tend to come forward after the closing date. Like I say, they've got 6 months to play. I mean, listen, this is a lottery prize. We want to reunite the player, the ticket holder with their rightful prize. But actually, if the prize, no one gets claims, it goes to the Lottery Good Causes. £32 million raised every week for good causes across the UK. And this will add into that.
So, and you do need the paper ticket, is that right?
That's right, yes. We need the ticket to validate the prize. So that's why encouraging people, checking cupboards and glove compartments of cars, anywhere you think you might be. We often find people find it in old coats and things like that. So just check everywhere. People at Bexley, you know, please check.
So but if you think you had a ticket, is it within 30 days you can prove that
That's
you have
right,
the paper ticket?
Within 30 days of the draw, but yes, 30 days has now passed,
Yes,
you know.
yeah, clearly.
We're coming to the end now, so this is a desperate plea for people. It's a lot of money.
And as the senior advisor for winners, what's the question that you get asked the most?
The question we get asked the most is, what do people do? How do they react? And actually, we would say people are really good. They take their time, you know, they make sure they celebrate their win. But actually, winning the lottery is a life-changing moment. But it gives people a real chance to sort of reflect on their life, work out what they can do. There's plenty of access to good support, wellbeing advice and legal and financial advice. So we make sure these people are well looked after.
Yeah. And if there is a top tip from you, what is that?
Take your time, do nothing quickly, go away on holiday and let it all sink in.
OK, well, thank you so much indeed, Andy, for joining us here. And as we say, 2 weeks to claim or come forward. Let's see what happens. It's the Borough of Bexley. We're not quite sure where exactly.
No, the Borough of Bexley, 2nd of April, midnight 2nd of April.
OK, thank you very much indeed. So, get searching, as he said, you know, pockets, drawers, sofas, wherever. Well, the weather today has certainly raised some smiles. Kate has got the forecast for us. Hi there.
Hello, Riz. Good evening. Well, it's not me that's won the lottery, sadly, but we did win the weather lottery today. It was the warmest day of the year so far. Northolt got 20.2 Celsius. Beautiful at Kew Gardens. Of course, all the flowers are blooming, the trees are in blossom. It has been a beautiful day. Blue sky, the air is very dry, so we haven't had any cloud at all, really, across London or lots of parts across the UK. And my favourite, parakeets. I keep featuring them. Absolutely lovely, enjoying the sunshine there at Kew Gardens earlier on today. Now, overnight tonight, we're going to hang on to the high pressure. This was earlier. You can see this was the only little bit of cloud, a very weak weather front to the north. To the south, no cloud at all. And we're going to carry on in that vein as we head through this evening and overnight. Clear skies, light winds. It is a little bit of a recipe for some mist, potentially not widespread, but the temperature is going to drop down to 1 or 2 Celsius. So really quite a chilly night. The more prone spots, you might, in the countryside, get a sparkle or two of frost. Bright start tomorrow morning. Any mist is going to lift. It is chilly. Lots of sunshine for Thursday. Just a slight shift in wind direction means we're going to have slightly less warm temperatures, but still 17 above average for this point in March. Then overnight Thursday and into Friday, slightly more moisture in the air. High pressure still very much in charge. That is that weak weather front I was talking about. Again, nowhere near us. So it's dry and it's clear, but there's a bit more with that moisture. More mist and fog first thing in the morning. So overnight, you can see clear skies, a northwesterly flow, a little more moisture coming in. And that's when we're going to start to see the mist, the fog developing, especially as we head through to the early hours and into Friday morning itself. The minimum temperature, again, pretty cold, low single figures between 1 and 3 Celsius. Now, that mist and fog may take a while to lift. When it does, it's going to be lifting into cloud, but that should thin, break. And again, we're going to have plenty of sunshine. High pressure stays with us as we head into the weekend as well. So we are going to be hanging on to dry, fine weather, plenty of sunshine. Colder, a little more unsettled next week, but let's skip over that.
We'll take it. Thank you, Kate. And that is it. So wherever you are and however you're watching, thanks for being with us. On our website, the Pinch Me moment for an optometrist and glasses maker in London who became the latest subject for a world-famous artist. Check it out. From all the team, do enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.
The BBC Make a Difference Awards celebrate people in your community who are truly remarkable.
If I send you a guitar, will you start playing again?
Wow.
If that sounds like someone you know, we want to hear from you. To find out how to nominate, go to bbc.co.uk/makeadifference, where you can see our full terms and privacy notice.
Nominations are open now and close on Tuesday, the 31st of March at 5 p.m.
Well done for everything you've done.
The BBC Make a Difference Awards 2026, celebrating people who make a difference where you live.